All right, boys and girls. So today in math, we are working on lesson 2.4. So that's chapter 2. It's the fourth lesson. Today, boys and girls, we're going to be able to make a model to solve problems using a matching strategy. So we're still working on learning how to match an object from one set to another set to see which one is greater and which one's less, okay? Dominic, I see you have your hand up in the air. What do you need to share something with us? Go ahead.
He's just showing you he has his pencil and book ready.
Oh, beautiful. Excellent. Good, Noah. So you know what, Noah? That means you're focused and you're ready to do your work at home. And that's what I love. So stay focused. And mommy and daddy will let me know by the end of the day how you did. So that way you could get some bonus points, okay? So, Miss Cash.
Sorry, it was Noah. That was Dominic.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Dominic. I'm looking at all the videos and I'm confusing the kids' names. Thank you so much. I'm sorry about that. Okay, let me share the video with you. We'll get started with this problem solving. Let me share that screen. It doesn't work here. I have to do it on the other window. I keep forgetting. Okay, let me do it on the other window. I'm gonna open up this and now I can share that screen with you, boys and girls. And get on Teach Hub. Just like you, boys and girls, you get onto Teach Hub too. And then it's in the upper right-hand corner and then you plug in your student details. Then we're going to open up our math. And then here is where we are going to open up our lesson, chapter 2, lesson 4.
How can you make a model to solve problems using a matching strategy?
Hello! I went to the fair yesterday with Rafferty and Cher. We watched children go on rides and eat yummy food. Rafferty found something that the children left at the fair. Click Rafferty to see what they left. The children left balloons. Cher says that she found a number of balloons that's less than the number of balloons that Rafferty found. How many balloons would that be? How can we find the set that could be Cher's balloons? Maybe a model could help us solve the problem. Let's learn how to use a matching strategy.
These are Brandon's toy cars. How many toy cars does Brandon have? We can use connecting cubes to show how many toy cars Brandon has. Click the first toy car to begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We used 5 cubes to show Brandon's toy cars. So Brandon has 5 toy cars. Jay has a number of toy cars that is less than the number of toy cars Brandon has. Let's use cubes to show Jay's toy cars. Click Jay's name to show the cubes. There are 2 red cubes, which means Jay has 2 red cars. Let's compare the cubes to make sure Jay's cubes show a number that is less than Brandon's cubes. Click the cubes to start. Here is one match. And here is another match. What does this tell you about which set of cubes is less than the other? Each cube in Jay's set has a match to one of Brandon's cubes. Some of the cubes in Brandon's set don't have matches. So the number of cubes in Jay's set is less than the number of cubes in Brandon's set. 2 is less than 5? This cube train has 4 cubes. Which of these red cube trains has a number of cubes greater than 4? Select your answer.
So they give us 2 sets of red cubes. They give us one here that's on the top, and they give us one on the bottom. So they want us to see which one's greater. So the one that's greater is the one that has more. So if you compare, looking at the 2 sets of cubes, who can help Miss Castro? Which one am I going to touch? Which one's greater? Is it the one on top or the one on the bottom? Who can help Miss Castro out with that? I see Dominic, your hand is up. So can you help us out? Which one's greater? Which one's the bigger amount?
The bottom one.
Okay, so Dominic said that the bottom one is bigger. It's greater. So I'm going to count it out loud. So the bottom we have 1, 2, 3. 3 is actually a number that's less than 4. That's a smaller number. And we can see that it's smaller because it has less cubes than the 4 yellow cubes. So what you want to do is, boys and girls, you want to look for the one that has more. So since our last option is the one on top, let's click that.
Good job! This cube train has 5 cubes. It has a number of cubes greater than 4. How do you know the red cube train has a number of cubes greater than 4? You can compare the trains by matching the red cubes with the orange cubes. Here's one match. Here's another match. Here's the next match. And here's one more match. Each cube in the orange cube train has a match. But one of the cubes in the red cube train doesn't have a match. So the red cube train has a number of cubes greater than 4. 5 is greater than 4.
So what's going to help us, boys and girls, when we are comparing the 2 sets, when we draw the lines, we'll be able to see which one has more and which one has less. So the one that has more is greater, and the one that has less, of course, is less. Okay, so let's look at our math books. We have on page 99. So that's one number away from 100. So we're looking at page 99. You're going to look at these purple cars here, okay? So now what Miss Castro is going to do is I'm going to share my white screen, my whiteboard, and I'm actually going to illustrate. I'm going to use, let's see if I use purple squares. Okay, so for those cars, I'm going to draw it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now Miss Castro did not have time to illustrate cars. So that's why I made purple squares, because the cars are purple. So I'm going to look at the instructions. So today, boys and girls, for problem solving, your mommies and daddies will have to read to you what the problem says, and you might have to listen to it more than one time. So we take apart the information to really understand what they're asking, okay? Dominic, we're focused, right? Okay. It says, these are Brandon's toy cars. How many toy cars does Brandon have? Jay has a number of cars that is less than the number of toy cars Brandon has. Okay, so what we're going to do is this. It says first that these are Brandon's toy cars. They want to know how many cars Brandon has. So we're going to label these cars. So let's start labeling the cars. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 toy cars. So these are Brandon's toy cars. Okay, so I'll give everyone a few moments. Now they're asking about Jay. They're saying that Jay has a number of toy cars that is less than the number of toy cars that Brandon has. So when a number is less, that means that the number is going to be smaller. So if Brandon has 4, we have to pick a number that's smaller than 4. Okay, so what we could do is look at the 4 cars that Brandon has. Jay has a number that's smaller. So what if we pick a number that's smaller than 4? Who would like to help Miss Castro? What's a number that's smaller than 4? Less. Alina, go ahead. What's a number that's less than 4? A smaller number.
1.
1. Okay, so let's say that Jay has 1 car, because they didn't say that it's 1 less. They just said that he has a number of toy cars that's less. So it could be any number that's less than 4. It could be 3, it could be 2, or it could be 1, just like Alina told us. So since Alina said that Jay only has 1 car, we're gonna make 1 car, and I'm gonna make it, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make them a circle, because circles are a little bit faster to make. So I'm gonna make a circle, and that's gonna be Jay's toy car, and now I'm gonna label it with the number 1, okay? Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna match 1 car to the one that Jay has. So when we match, we draw a line. So we draw 1 to 1. That's it. We cannot match anything else because we don't have anything more to match. So this shows that Jay has a number of cars that's less than Brandon. Brandon had a greater number. He had 4, but Jay had a number that is less. All right, let's look at the next page. Now we're turning on to the next page. It's page 100. Page 100, boys and girls. All right, so Miss Cash is going to share the whiteboard again. This time I'm going to erase what I did. And now I'm going to illustrate what they have there. So they have 3 red cubes right next to each other. And they have the line to write the number. Okay. So, number 1, they are asking how many cubes? So, let's count and label. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 3 is the last number that I counted for the red cubes, boys and girls. So, I'm going to trace the number that they have there, which is the number 3. And I would like for you, boys and girls, to trace that number as well. Okay. Now I'm going to illustrate what they have there next. So now it says for number 2, that's it. We're done with number 1. Number 2, where the sunshine is. Look in that section there. We're going to focus just in that area, okay? On the bottom, the directions say, to model a cube train that has a number of cubes greater than 3. And we're going to draw the cube train. So when they're talking about a cube train, that means that we're going to draw squares side by side right next to each other. But let's think. Who can help Miss Castro? Who can tell me a number that's greater than 3? That means it has to be more, bigger than 3. A number that's greater than 3. Noah, what's a number that's greater than 3? It has to be more.
5.
5, excellent. Okay, so let's do this. Let's illustrate 5 squares. So here we go. Side by side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Noah said 5 is greater than 3. So what we're going to do is we illustrated 5 squares. We labeled them as well. And on the line, we're going to write that number, the number 5. So everyone please form the number 5 on the line to show that we have 5 cube squares, cube trains. Okay, so now we're going to go down to the last part on that page, the green leaf with the number 3. Again, it's an empty space because we have to show our work. So all they have down there at the bottom is the line for us to write the number. Okay, now I need somebody to help me. Let's think again. We started off with 3 red cube trains. Noah is correct. 5 is greater than 3. There's also another number that is greater than 3. What's another number that is greater than 3? It has to be more. Gracie Mani, what's another number greater than 3?
4.
Excellent job, Gracie Mani. So what we're going to do, boys and girls, is we are going to illustrate and label 4 squares side by side, just like a cube train. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So if we illustrated 4 squares, the number that we write on the line is going to be the number 4. Excellent job. So this is what we have to listen to, boys and girls. We're listening to key words. These vocabulary words that we're using in math, greater than and less than, these are all words that we have to think when we're doing math because it helps us to understand what we're going to be doing. When something's greater, it's bigger. When something is less, it's smaller. Okay? All right, so moving on to the next page, page 101, I'm gonna clear my drawing. Now I'm gonna illustrate what they have there with the orange cube trains. All right, so this time, they didn't give us a number to trace. This time we have to figure it out. And the way we're gonna do that is by counting and labeling the orange cubes that they give us there on the page. So let's start counting and labeling those orange cubes. We always begin with the number 1. So let's start labeling. 1, 2, Gracie Mani, are you focused? 3, 4, and 5. There we go. So I counted 5 orange cubes. So the number 5 is what I'm gonna write on the line. 5. For the next question, boys and girls, where you see the purple butterfly for the number 5, that's where we're gonna move on to next, okay? So now, in the first problem with the blue flower of the number 4, there we counted 5 orange cubes. This time, they want us to think of a number that's less than 5. So that's a smaller number. Think of a small number that's less than 5. Jace, what number is less than 5?
4.
4, very good. 4 is a number that is less than 5. So we're gonna illustrate 4 squares and we're gonna label them. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we can tell that 4 is a number that's less than 5 because when we just drew the 4 squares, it's a smaller amount. It's a smaller set, small number. So we have 4 squares, and on the line, we're going to write the number 4. Now, for the last part, the brown acorn with the number 6. We're all the way down at the bottom of that page now, boys and girls. So they want us to think again. Looking back at the 5 orange cubes, we're going to think of another number that's less than 5. Who would like to help Miss Castro think of another number that is less than 5? It's smaller than 5. Aaliyah? Go ahead, Aaliyah. You there, Aaliyah?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me a number that's less than 5.
1.
Say it again louder, Mama.
1.
Very good. You are correct. 1 is definitely a number that is less than 5. So let's go ahead and draw 1 square. Label it with the number 1. And since we have 1 square, that's it. On the line, we have to write the number 1. Okay? Now, the other part that they wanted to do, but I don't like to do it because sometimes it gets messy. You don't have to do this, boys and girls. Yes, I don't know who's speaking. Go ahead.
It's me, Scarlett.
Go ahead, Scarlett.
How many minutes we get out?
We're getting out in about 3 minutes, okay?
So we have to keep on learning.
That is correct. That's why you are here, because I need you to stay here and learn. It's really important so that way you know what to do for your assignments today on Google Classroom, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, my dear. So the last thing that I wanted to mention, boys and girls, they want us to match these squares that we made. Sometimes it tends to get a little messy, so that's why I skipped that part. If you can, you don't have to, but if you can connect a square to another set. So you could do it with the orange squares to the squares that you drew, the 4 squares. And then the one down at the bottom, that 1 square that we made, you're going to connect it to that one there. It tends to get a little sloppy. That's why I don't really like to mention that part, just for this reason. If you can connect them and match the sets, great. If you don't want to, you don't have to. I just wanted to show it to you because sometimes we illustrate the squares and we don't align it the correct way. So that's when it gets sloppy, and then there's lines going this way and it's all over the place. So I try to avoid that. But if you boys and girls feel like you can do it, then feel free, go ahead. Okay. All right. So boys and girls, for today's Google Classroom assignment, you have your math books. You have page 103. The instructions are down at the bottom. This is the instructions where you're going to have your moms and dads tell you what it says, so that way you know what you have to do, okay? So that's page 103 and also page 104, which is right on the back. It goes over everything that we've learned so far, okay? So those are the assignments. and continue working on everything that we've been learning, boys and girls. Okay, you've been doing very good.